I hired Kenny 2 years ago with a firm belief that he could lead our storied program back to national prominence. I was also keenly aware that he was not stepping into an ideal situation. After an extremely difficult first season, I was hopeful I could see enough progress to warrant the opportunity for him to continue to lead this program for the years to come. Unfortunately, while there have been brief moments of progress, ultimately, I did not see the sustained progression I was looking for.
That news conference from 3 this afternoon, our breaking news coverage continuing for you at 5. After 2 years at the helm of Louisville basketball, Kenny Payne is no longer the head coach. Flying back from Washington just this morning after last night's ACC tournament loss, Athletic Director Josh Hurd making that announcement at a news conference again at 3 today. Well, as his multi-million-dollar settlement is now being negotiated, the university is also launching a search for a new coach. Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard in for Shea, and Sports Director Kent Spencer joins us right now at the desk. You just came back from the ACC tournament and saw that game last night. And Kent, everybody knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know when.
Yeah, and Louisville did not waste any time after they lost to North Carolina State last night, 94-85 in the ACC tournament. Josh Hurd said he met with Kenny Payne this morning, as well as the basketball staff, the players, to inform them the program is moving in a different coaching direction. During his 2 seasons at U of L, Payne only had 12 wins, racked up with 52 losses. This season, he went 8-24 overall, just 3-17 in conference. During his first season as the Cardinals head coach, U of L went 4-28 overall, and 2 wins were in the ACC.
You know, there's a question, Kent, on when he learned this news. Do you think it really was today, or did they have that buttoned up last night? Because you were in Washington. In fact, your flight just landed back in Louisville.
Yeah, no, I truly feel like last night he didn't know, but you did get the sense last night that he thought this was coming, you know.
That the meeting was going to be this morning.
That there was going to be a meeting this morning. In fact, last week he said, like, look, after the season, you know, I'm going to meet with Josh Hurd just like all coaches do. But you definitely got the sense last night that Kenny Payne knew that was coming, and his time as U of L's head coach was nearing an end.
I talked to Wade Houston today. He said, I see Kenny as a son. I'm very disappointed. Kenny Payne himself last night said he wanted a 3rd year or a 4th year.
You know, that's tough because, you know, Josh Hurd mentioned this today. The University of Louisville men's basketball program is the lifeblood of that athletics program. And the fans, the seats weren't even half full at the KFC Yum Center. Josh Hurd said they were losing a significant amount of money for each home game that they put on. You've got to win basketball games, and you've got to be able to put the butts in the seats. And those things just were not happening in those 2 days.
No, it wasn't happening at all.
In 2 years, excuse
me.
It wasn't. Dismal numbers there. Okay, thank you very much, Kent. We've got a lot of reaction to bring you. We do have team coverage for you coming up here today at 5.
Yes, sports reporter Mason Horodisky was at U of L with the press conference, and he is out there right now. And so, Mason, just kind of tell us about the reaction that you're getting.
Well, the reaction from a lot of people is that they saw this one coming. I mean, Kent said it right there pretty plainly. 12-52 just isn't going to cut it at a school like Louisville. These past 2 seasons, the Louisville fan base has been absolutely starving for results, and Josh Hurd has known that for quite some time.
Our fan base is, they're dying for this program to be successful. Absolutely dying for this program to be successful, and that will be a very, very direct question with whoever I'm looking at as far as filling this head coaching role. You know, can you manage the enormity of this position?
So what will it take to manage the enormity of that position? There are a lot of factors that go into it, says the AD.
You know, these are 7- and 8-figure calculations when it comes to the success of this program. And you know, the head coach coming in here needs to understand that in order for this athletic department to be healthy, this basketball program has to be successful.
Again, Hurd saying no timetable just yet on when a new head coach will be named, as Louisville, counting interim head coaches, will look for its 6th coach in 9 years. The KFC Yum Center, Mason Horodisky, WHAS11 on your side.
All right, Mason, thank you so much. And Kent, we were just talking about you being at that game last night. Talk a little bit more about just the emotions of Kenny Payne last night.
You know, this was almost like the entire team last night, quick. It was most of the time when a season comes to an end, there's a great deal of sadness. It almost felt like relief in the Cards locker room last night, or they just have gotten so used to the losing.
Yeah.
But everybody thought this was coming a mile away, the decision today from Josh Hurd. In fact, I asked Kenny Payne last night if he knew this was coming or it had already discussed and this was already been decided.
When I walked into the program as the new head coach, I talked about I needed everybody on the same page. We sort of forgot that. I talked about how I'm not going to let you blame me. I'm not standing up here by myself. I need all of Louisville with me. We sort of forgot that. I talked about it's going to take time, and I'm going to watch and see who jumped on and off the Titanic. We sort of forgot that. These young men, to play in a program where there's so much scrutiny, is unfair to them.
That's Kenny Payne walking off the court last night inside Capital One Arena, the last time as the head coach of the Louisville men's basketball program. Now, here's where Kenny Payne's contract stands with U of L. The university was paying a base salary of $3.35 million. Payne has a buyout of $8 million since he was fired before April 1st of this year. It would have gone down to $6 million if the university waited 2 weeks. However, these numbers can be negotiated and a settlement can be reached. Josh Hurd didn't answer what that settlement could be right now.
Okay, Kent and Doug, of course, it was a different atmosphere when Kenny Payne first stepped off the plane, of course, as the new U of L basketball coach. He was greeted with cheers from fans and faculty and gave a hug to his former beloved head coach, the late, great Denny Crum, right on the tarmac. At the time, Payne told reporters that it was good to be back, and Crum said having him lead the Cards was a good thing. And at the official press conference, Kenny Payne said he was prepared for the coaching challenge.
I said, give me the worst case scenario. Don't give me the best. I know what the best is. Give me the worst. And he went through in his mind what the worst could be. I took the job. Understand what that means. I took the job.
When Kenny Payne accepted the U of L coaching job, the university had an interim athletic director, interim president, and was expecting serious sanctions from the NCAA. However, during his tenure, the instability became stability. Josh Hurd was named athletic director. Kim Schatzel, the university's president, and the Independent Accountability Resolution Process, or IARP, released its sanctions. It placed the men's basketball program on a 2-year probation and fined the program $5,000. It also restricted U of L's recruiting visits for the 2022 academic year. But it's been easy to see this season the lack of support for Louisville basketball. The KFC Yum Center, you mentioned this earlier, Kent, just fans not being there, and during after the Miami win, there was a good crowd that was there. The fans were into it. They tried, and then it just seemed like, even though that was a loss, the game after that, they came back, they were hopeful, but it just didn't happen.
You know, it's funny. Picture this program 7, 8, 9 years ago, the KFC Yum Center, even for the non-conference games, almost filled. These years, after the last handful of years, if you look in and you see the lower bowl almost fill, you're like, it's a pretty good crowd tonight.
Right.
And that's really where the program is right now. It's got to get back to almost packing the place. And for the big games, it needs to be packed once again. It's just not there yet. And we're already starting to kind of change our mindset with what it looks like right now.
Well, we've been checking in with the fans today. Let's go to Connor Steffen and photojournalist Addie Hill. They're at U of L getting reaction to the Kenny Payne firing today. Connor, what have you been hearing?
Well, Doug, we're coming to you from a mostly quiet campus. That's because everyone's on spring break, though those few students that we've been able to speak with seemingly optimistic as leaders look to hire a new basketball program leader for the 3rd time since 2018. Now, those same students that we spoke with who are now seniors tell us they remember when they were younger and watched U of L's 2013 national championship run. It made them excited to come here for college, to experience, like you guys were just talking about, a sold-out Yum Center game, but they said their expectations fell flat to reality. And 2 seasons,
very good program, and will be a very good program again. But I just think that they're going to need to take some patience with what they're doing and understand where their program is. And no one wants to think that. They always want to think that we're one day from a Final Four. And
now, again, we want to tell you that was, as you just heard, he was talking about next season may resemble something like a slow rebuild. That's something for fans they may have to gain some patience and get used to. He said that they may not be ready in a few days' time for a Final Four. Fans just may need patience heading into next season. We're going to bring you some more reactions coming up here at 6, but for now, live from U of L's campus, Connor Steffen, WHAS11 on your side.
Connor, thank you. While the fans had their opinions on Kenny Payne and his era there, his leadership, what did the now former coach mean to those players?
And Kent, you had an opportunity to talk to them last night. What were they saying?
Brandon Huntley Hatfield called Kenny Payne a second or third father. He's that close. Trey White said he'll always have love for Kenny Payne because he's one of the guys that pours himself into you. Mike James, once again, you know, he's like a father to me. You know, that was kind of something that was all throughout the locker room last night. They have a real respect for Kenny Payne, but I will say this. They also knew, or you could tell that they felt change was coming within the program.
As long as you actually pour into me and show me that you love me, I won't ever, I can never turn my back on you.
He's going to be one of the coaches that I remember for the rest of my life, honestly, because, you know, you never remember the coaches that are just don't pour their all into you. But I feel like KP pours all into you and even more.
They went on to call Kenny a father figure and someone that pushed them to be their best.
And joining us now live right here on set to talk about the coaching change and the end of the Kenny Payne era is Derwin Webb.
Derwin, you had a 390 career points with the Cardinals. We thank you for joining us. 4 days ago, you at least posted a podcast. You did. You have a podcast called Perspective with Kenny Payne.
I did.
Did you get an indication that he saw the end of the line coming?
I don't know if he saw the end of the light, but he was hopeful that he had another opportunity to try and get his message across to the team and get another year. So I don't know if he knew for sure, but he kind of gave me some kind of indication that he knew something was going to happen, just not quite sure what it was going to be.
Do you feel like he was feeling the support a little bit then, if he didn't indicate that he was gone?
Well, we had a great conversation, had a chance to talk about not only basketball, but kind of life as well. He talked about the fans that were supporting him. He did kind of talk about the fans that were not, but I think that he felt like he had enough support from certain people that he felt like a third year was warranted. He talked about what the future would look like and talked about what needed to happen in order for this program to be successful.
Well, give me your honest opinion. Sadly, we don't live in a society now where people give basketball coaches 3 to 4 years. They don't. But it was on this scene here when he was hired, hoisting number 21 there, where he immediately said, I need your support, fans. This is a mess. It's going to take time to turn around. But that didn't happen in the end.
Well, he did talk about a 3-4 year time period, talked about what it needed to happen. But I also talked to him in this interview about people like Jerome Tang at Kansas State. Talked about how people would turn things over within 1 year. And I said, do you think that that could happen here? And he said that he did not ever want to have a transactional relationship with players. So he felt like he did not think that that was appropriate for this university. He wanted to build a culture and wanted to see things change, but he thought that he needed more time to make that happen.
But did he, in your conversation, realize that college athletics now has become transactional? I mean, that's what it is. You can say, I mean, even Nick Saban was on Capitol Hill yesterday talking about the college football that he grew up in, college athletics, about molding young men and molding student athletes. That's gone. This is about, it's become pay for play, and you've got to be adjusted to that. I don't know if he ever truly got adjusted to that. Derwin, did he know that he had to evolve with the times?
I think he knew that. And speaking about what was going to happen in the future, I think he understood it and accepted it. I don't think he liked it. But I think he understood what needed to happen in order for this university to go forward and be successful. So I think that he understood what had to happen as far as that's concerned.
And last question for me. Did you get the sense in your conversation with him that he understood there are bumps in the roads when you are becoming a first-time head coach, especially at a school like the University of Louisville, and you're going to make mistakes along the way? We never really heard him say, hey, I made a mistake here. I should have done this differently. Do you think he knew and trying to mold it? Yeah, he did make some mistakes along the way, and he needed to get those corrected.
I think that he understood that and actually articulated that to me as far as that interview was concerned. I think that he thought that he had more time to fix some things. So while the first 2 years were obviously bumpy, they say that you are what your record says it is. So he understood that his record was not good, but he understood that he had to make some changes. I think later on, as we look at past interviews, he knew that things had to change. He just thought he had more time.
As we wrap it up, have you talked to him today?
I have talked to him.
And can you tell us anything about the
Well,
conversation?
I think he's disappointed. I think that he wanted more time, but he understood that a change needed to be made.
He did.
And he's supporting the university and whatever needs to take place going forward.
All right, Derwin Webb, thank you very much for your perspective. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.